Join us for onsens, street food, and castles at the Osaka Pop-Up October 11th to 17th. Facebook group and sign-up link are in the show notes.
Today, we unpack the realities of long-term family travel with Stacy Wedding, a mom with a multicultural family of 5 and a resiliency coach who has been worldschooling her 3 teenagers across Europe for the last 3 years. Stacy shares her journey of leaving the rigid German school system to embrace a lifestyle of slow travel funded by budget-friendly workaways and farm stays. We discuss the honest highs and lows of traveling with older kids, the beauty of deep family connection, and what happens when your car completely breaks down on the German Autobahn. Stacy opens up about how emotional intelligence is the ultimate tool for navigating travel mishaps and parental burnout. Listen to the end for an immensely helpful breathing exercise for adults and kids alike that you can use to instantly reset your nervous system when travel or life gets a little too hectic.
Welcome to the Wander World School podcast. I'm Susie, a travel-loving money nerd, mom of 2, and our family lives between Spain, Colorado, and soon Japan. On this show, we discuss the stories, logistics, and finances of traveling families and the many ways to learn along the way. Today, we get to know Stacy Wedding. Welcome to the show. Please tell me more about you and your family and where you're calling in from today.
Thank you, Susie. I'm Stacy Wedding with Resilience with Stacy. I'm American. My husband is German. We are currently stranded in Germany, you could say. We had a travel day mishap in Germany on our way to Norway. We have 3 kids. Our daughter is 10. Our 2 boys are 13 and 15, so a little bit older than maybe the average world schooling family, maybe. We've been world schooling for 3 years now. Had maybe you could call it a quote-unquote normal life in Germany before that with work and school. And 3 years ago, woke up and wanted to get out and do something different, something more aligned with us and our values. And so we started world schooling.
Love it. I can't wait to jump into more about family travels and then, of course, more about what you do as a resiliency coach. Let's take it back to how travel started for you, if there was travel in your life growing up. And then also, I have a German husband as well, so I'm sure there's a story in there.
Yeah, somewhat average American family. So like road trips and visiting family while traveling was a big part of my childhood. My first real international trip when I was 13. And although in all the pictures I look overly annoyed, that definitely woke up in me a curiosity for other cultures and more travels. After university, I traveled and met my German husband. We met in India, of all places. He had been traveling, though, for over 2 years at that point. Very quickly fell in love and had our first child. And then we just kind of fell into this, as I said, normal life with a job and then a car and then an apartment and then a bigger car and more kids. And after about a decade, kind of just like woke up like, why are we doing this? Like every morning, basically nobody really wanted to leave the house. Like we had okay jobs and the kids' school was good, but we were not fully aligned with our values, with how the schooling was, and kind of decided to just get up and get out and try something completely different.
And I'm a little familiar with the school system in Germany, and I know it can be very structured. Also, there's some very early separation on tracks for where students are going to end up, which is one thing my husband did not like about growing up there because he felt limited. And I just don't think at 4th or 5th grade that kids can really be put into boxes about where their future is going to take them. So I'm just curious your experiences with that, especially since your kids were into those older levels in German school system.
For those who don't know, basically at the 4th grade level, so 9 years old, you're predetermined, you're predestined to either the smart school, the middle school, or they just have to go to school. Our kids went to a Waldorf, so it was different. And to us, that was the best of what was available. My husband had gone to the same schools. We had always convinced ourselves that that was okay. And on the one hand really was for what's available in Germany. I love the Steiner philosophy and a lot about it, but there's still someone standing there telling you what to do and when to do it and how to learn and all this stuff. We felt like it was, on the one hand, very good to raise kids in Germany. There are lots of pros to being in Germany as a family. They give you money per kid per month to help with the kids. Insurance is good. Medical system is good. Like I said, we chose the best school that we could, but it all still wasn't really aligned with what we wanted. The boys were, you're correct, Susie, 5th and 6th grade, I think, when we started. So they already had a lot of those basic milestones behind them. And our world schooling, how we did schooling over the past 3 years after kind of breaking out of that system and then finding our own way, also has evolved quite a bit, right? We started pure unschooling, we're never going to tell them ever what to do. And they enjoyed, I think, this exhale after all this schooling, but then realized on both sides that we needed more opportunities, because at some point maybe they would just play chess and read all day, which maybe some person would say, well, that's learning, that's okay, that's unschooling. And we were kind of just tapping our fingers yeah, but you could be doing a little bit more. It's evolved. There's 1.5 hours every morning where we learn. We sit down and maybe I do some work on the computer. They need to write and they need to read and they need to do something, and we will help with workbooks. We do a mix of technology and non-technology because we don't want them just staring at screens all morning long. It's definitely been trial and error and just kind of figuring it out as we go and letting it evolve and supporting as much as we could.
And what was it like to settle in Germany for you?
I was pregnant with our first child. I had learned German in high school, but it was definitely a big shift for me. But with my travels before that, I kind of knew the culture. I was also coming into basically my husband's family. We were staying in an apartment from his parents and stuff like that. So it was a big shift, a big change. And obviously difficult to be away from my family there in America. But I adjusted. Traveling, Susie, I would say, was almost non-existent. I have to just put it on me as the mom. I took being a mom a big deal, and I studied developmental psychology in college, and I wanted to make sure I did everything right. And now have learned that a lot of what I thought was do something exactly right is really just about having a healthy and supported mom and dad and us being more in aligned, not giving up so much of us and our dreams to then somehow be there for our kids. I was with my kids for the first 3 years of their life, which I found extremely important. But I definitely lost myself along the way. And there could have been more travel. I mean, traveling with little kids, Susie, you know what it's like. Whether it's a car or a plane or a train, it can just be difficult. So we were also being a little bit lazy and just getting through the days and getting through the week, and really just woke up and didn't want to do it anymore.
That makes sense because life can just come at you fast, right? And then suddenly, oh, what are we doing here? What have languages look like? I presume the children have picked up German and English from family and then also community. Is there anything else that's been part of your language learning journey with the kids and for you too?
Yeah, I basically speak English to everyone, and everyone speaks German back to me. Or that's not exactly true. My husband and I, we speak English between each other. We met in India, and that kind of just stayed then, which I love. So the kids can speak and write English, but their mother tongue is definitely German. Otherwise, it's just what they're interested in, which has been for the past few years, Spanish, which I'm trying to also learn as well. Primarily Duolingo, but that has its limits, and are going to be this summer at an amazing place in Norway with a half Norwegian, half Mexican family. So we're hoping to all practice and get a little bit more Spanish in. I definitely, with my 3 years of German in high school, just never thought I could fluently speak and learn another language. But obviously traveling and being here, being surrounded by it and the culture as well, that obviously just catapulted my German. I was literally with my little baby learning German, because what do people say to little babies? They're like, "Oh, you're so cute." And I'm like, "Cute. Oh, I know what that word is." I literally learned together with my kids German. But like I said, from day one, spoke English to them so that they would naturally acquire it and have it, which they do.
Your home shouldn't be a reason to stay, it's your ticket to go. My ebook, How to Rent Out Your House While Traveling, teaches you how to set up systems to rent out and manage your property remotely. Turn your house into a travel asset that pays for your adventures. Grab the ebook and the free 30-minute consult today at the link in the show notes. Let's get you on the road.
I can relate to that dominant language, but then when you move to a different situation, then they have more exposure and it can shift in really cool ways too. So I just think it's all very fascinating, the language piece. Let's also jump into the financial piece, because you guys were working and then quit those jobs and started traveling. Tell me a little more about how that transition to travel took place.
Yeah. So we just ripped it off like a Band-Aid. We woke up, made a decision, and within 6 months, we got rid of, it feels like 80% of our earthly belongings. We have been in Germany a lot, back with family and visiting and stuff, but we have no real home base here. I teach English online, so I have students that I work with every week, sometimes more, sometimes less. Obviously in the summer, way less. I have my coaching programs and stuff. So I have a really flexible kind of up and down. You can't budget with what I make, basically. So we didn't have a large lump sum of money. We didn't have a really stable income to work with when we left. So we shifted into something that my husband and I had done while we were younger traveling, which is woofing and Workaway. So we cut the budget by half, by working 4 to 5 hours a day at these beautiful, amazing places. And then you get in trade for that room and board. Everyone is fed and everybody has a place to sleep. Honestly, Workaway is better for the filtering, for the profiles, for the feedback, which I found super important as a family. You really want to know where you're going. I'm not some 20-year-old girl that can just leave in 2 days if it's a weird place. You filter for that families are welcome, how much room they have, what kind of work it is, and all that stuff. And we have found over the past 3 years so many amazing places that we almost don't need to go new places. We have places we found that we could imagine someday growing roots in and staying there and joining them. Looked primarily for farms. On the one hand, my husband and I are trying to use this traveling time to learn. We would like to someday have a homestead, be somewhat self-sufficient, maybe off-grid. And so we tried to find places like that and learn from them. Permaculture, what it's like to work with animals, all that stuff. And on the other hand, that is amazing for homeschooling, was my idea and thought, which it has been. We have our daughter loves animals, especially horses, but really all animals. Every dog that we've met is like our dog. And We've helped take care of so many baby kittens. It's ridiculous. And it's just been a huge learning process, what it's really like to have those animals. So that was a huge budget piece. I think a lot of families could benefit from that in many ways. So then it was just, the basics. Insurance. I mean, we do house sitting when the budget allows. So it's been a mix of finding communities, finding farms, and having these learning experiences where we can give back, which we also really like, and get to know more the culture and the families there. And then having like a little break. We just did house sitting for 3 weeks at a friend's place here in Germany, and then are going to go back to Workaway. So a little bit back and forth. Our minimum, I mean, it depends, but $2,000 a month is the basics. Is like the insurance is covered. We've got stuff to fill up the tank. We've got all the basics. That would be though with moving or Workaway, with one of us or both of us working 4 to 5 hours a day.
Is it easy to find family-friendly woofing and workaway situations? I've looked in some countries and found limited family options. I'm curious what your experience has been as a family.
Yeah, so it definitely varies by country. You're right, Susie. We have primarily done this in Europe. Even in Europe, it varies quite a bit. But as I said, you can filter, you can really narrow down and search. And I know that Workaway has a lot of opportunities in Europe. I don't know about South Africa or India. I really don't know. I know that it is worldwide and it has a lot of opportunities, but Europe, extremely prevalent. Either they say they're family friendly and we think, oh, that could work. And we get a reply like basically politely saying, oh my gosh, 5 people, are you crazy? No. Or, yeah, they also have a family. They also have kids the same age and lots of places, lots of farms, especially where the generations have settled. They have lots of room and they would love for us, it's really been both ways. So you have to plan ahead of time, a few months out, start writing places, get into good dialogue with them, be super upfront already in your profile. Husband works online, digital nomad family, so mom will be working, how old the kids are, the temperament of the kids, because, with a 1 and a 3-year-old, I couldn't imagine being able to really contribute like we contribute now. But we have met amazing communities and amazing other families along the way, as I said, that have welcomed us with open arms, almost no questions asked. Although we learned along the way to always do a video call with future potential hosts. We've both had places where you could say on paper, we're really good. The work is stuff we want to learn about, all that stuff. And then either we just had a really strong gut feeling, like no, or the video call, you could kind of sense that they were a little bit hesitant about it being loud while we were there or whatever, which we're like, oh yeah, it will be loud. Like we are 5 people. So if that's a problem, then yes.
Yeah, you're right. The ages of the children makes a difference. Your availability to participate in whatever the farm and family needs are. So it takes some time and effort is what I'm hearing, but it is absolutely possible to find locations, especially in Europe, that are family friendly and are good opportunities.
One quick distinction, woofing, WWOOF, is really just organic farms. Workaway could be almost anything. You could be cooking for the family at night or helping kids with English homework or on a farm or in a community working in the garden. Like it's just very varied and you can search for that as well.
And then how else are you traveling?
Yeah, we have a large car. We have all our hiking stuff with us. So yeah, accommodation is either at the house sitting place or Workaway woofing place.
I would like to hear a little bit more about your travels and then also what travel looks like in the upcoming years as your kids get older too? I'm curious if you've thought more about that too.
Yeah, we've thought about it. And even when we started this whole thing, we had this whole big idea, and the whole time knew and still know in the back of our minds to just check in with the kids, with the family, what's working, what's not working. At first we kind of just like left Germany and did Austria, France, Spain, where we were around other families and communities and such. But then it was like, okay, let's go back to Germany. The social contact is a big thing, right? With the old friends, the boys wanted to see their old friends, all this stuff. So then it turned into a mix. Then it turned into, I don't know, maybe 50-50. We were in Germany quite a bit. We have friends that have a farm here. We were helping them. They needed the help. It was a win-win. And then we would just travel every now and then, be out and do then Italy, Switzerland. Last summer, we were up in Denmark, Sweden, Norway. Had never been to Scandinavia before. So we want new stuff, new cultures with a mix. And right now, after traveling for 3 years, I think a lot of families I work with, I hear this too, they kind of hit a wall maybe where you miss the community, you miss the neighborhood, you miss the school friends or whatever. If you travel permanently, you almost become rootless, right? Like you don't have like the grandma or the neighbor or the whatever that's missing. That's a big missing piece that we are now actively figuring out. So maybe now it evolves into being at these 2-3 amazing places where we've really formed really strong connections and bonds mixed with some new travels, but allowing ourselves to feel into a little bit more of a community and connection that way. But we're also waiting on a green card for my husband so that we can go to America. My kids know America only on vacation. And I would like to spend a few years there, primarily national parks, so that they get the language fully immersed, the culture, the amazing nature. They can really then decide where do they want to go to university if they want to do that at all. Because they could do that in America. I want them to get to know America a little bit better. And I want to be closer to my family, like it's their turn. We've been gone for quite a while and traveling. But the green card is taking forever, which happens. Maybe we do Southeast Asia for a few months, or we're open to what comes up, seeing what the kids need, what they like, perhaps slowly growing roots in a few places as well.
I like the idea of evolving as we travel and as our kids grow and what our needs and desires are, and opening up more doors for them with the opportunity to maybe study further in the U.S. When I hear a lot about your travels, I hear how resiliency has played a role for you, your life, your travels, and now you're working as a resilience coach. Tell me more about that experience for you, what that means to work with people through resiliency. Just share with me more your evolution in the coaching space.
Yeah, I would love to. Resiliency, a lot of people just don't really jive with that word. It's basically stress management. It's coping. It's a whole bunch of things mixed all together. I studied developmental psychology in college, thought that child development and all this stuff was just super, super important and super, super interesting. Then I had my own kids, got into heart math, which was basically they make really short, easy stress management meditations based on science and data that you can do to increase your resilience. So then I started getting deeper into resilience, applying everything first and foremost in my own life, and then trying to bring it to students that I worked with and in 2014 was my personal rock bottom. So that was where I realized, thankfully, I am a naturally resilient, optimistic person. And even then, I needed help. I needed resources. I needed people. I just called on everything that I could for the year that I cried after that. and then I realized that it is teachable. There are really rock solid ways to just apply it in your life. And then I got even more passionate about emotional intelligence and the nervous system and just all this stuff and went into a deep, deep dive. Then when we got out, when we started our travels, I was like, well, how can I do this while traveling? Like, how can I still help people and reach people? And realized with the experiences that we had that I obviously could do coaching online. And I developed online programs so that people can just jump in. It could be a group of teenagers, a group of adults. I'm starting one with a group of families so that we can all just learn how to connect, how to stay grounded, how to regulate the nervous system, all that stuff that plays into resilience that I think is so fascinating. And on the one hand, relatively complex, but easy to try and do and really make positive change in your life if you really want to.
For a traveling family, particularly, where they are encountering new situations, difficult situations, language barriers, what are some tips and tricks, some skills for both the parents, because I think it starts there, right? But also things that we can teach our kids as we're traveling to develop that resiliency.
Yeah. And some people think we just start traveling and then all our problems will go away. It's like, no, your problems come with you. There's room and luggage for that. How do we deal with that? And there's a lot of different techniques. We could actually do a really short breathing technique together in a minute. But what came up while you were saying that was emotional intelligence. And you're right that it starts with us. Regulation starts with us. Emotional intelligence starts with us. We are the adults in the room. So we set the bar. We set the example. So what can we do? Let's just talk about our emotions more. Let's just say, like we had 4 days ago, the car just broke down on the side of the highway and we called a tow truck and they're coming, but I'm pretty upset right now and I don't know what's going to happen. Just say what is going on right now for you in an I sentence. No, I'm tired right now. I'm a little bit frustrated that we're not doing this quicker. Whatever it is, and then say your emotion. And then we could also, this would be a separate thing, name what our kids might be experiencing, right? So this will help them to feel validated. If your 3-year-old is trying to stack blocks and they keep falling or can't reach something, oh, you really wanted to stack those blocks. That must be so frustrating. Oh, you can't reach that. That makes you angry. I'll help you. Let's be so present with our kids that we maybe know what's going on with them emotionally and say it. Say it out loud. If they're older, maybe they correct you and they say, no, I'm not upset about that. I wanted something else. And if they're younger, then they're just absorbing it. They're absorbing it and learning. I can talk about my feelings. I can name them because just naming emotions makes them much easier to accept and maybe do something with, right? To change it in a positive way. The breathing exercise that we could do, super short and sweet right now, is something that helped me a lot during our car breakdown on a German Autobahn fiasco. Is just a double inhale and a super long exhale. This mimics a breath that our little kids have naturally. Think about it, Susie. Your 3-year-old kid, freaked out, full tantrum, screaming, crying, is no longer freaking out, but is not yet calm and collected. Normally you hear this. You hear these multiple short inhales. That is the parasympathetic nervous system, the calm, the rest and digest system, pumping the brakes to slow everything down. And we can do that. It's a biohack. We can take one deep inhale in through the nose. Stop. Do one more little sip. And then a nice full, long through the mouth. Exhale as long as you can. And when you think you're done, do a little bit more. We'll do it 2 more times together. Inhale through the nose. Stop. Inhale a little bit more. Full exhale through the mouth. Maybe even a sigh. Letting it all the way out. Pushing up, pushing out, pushing out, pushing out. Double exhale to inhale ratio is the goal. And that will instantly turn on the parasympathetic, like I said, to rest.
Wow, that's so powerful. And thank you for sharing that exercise. I know I could use this a lot with my kids, but I like that it's not just take a deep breath. Like there's something else to think about it when we're being intentional with the breath and the double breath. I hope that's a great takeaway for those listening to say, oh, I'm going to incorporate this the next time I or my children or both need to, bring down the temperature a little bit, right? But, at what point would it be a great time to work with someone like you who could help them navigate some skills and family? You do family coaching one-on-one. What are some situations or things that people might seek out services for?
All you have to do is be open for help and maybe need and value help, right? So I've had families that were really like small kids, burnout, really kind of at the end of their rope. And then you just start with coping, like giving them all the tools and techniques you can. Maybe get into a little bit more of the theory. And then you have the families that are just like, we just think this is just super important. We want to improve our relationships. And then you can go a lot more into the theory and the why behind it and the teachable moments behind the resilience. So it's really open for anyone. At the moment, it's more kind of crisis, and we need to get through this, and just tell me what to do, which can be difficult because then there's only so much capacity and so many moments that you can do a breathing technique. But I found if you're open enough, if you really want to change, it is possible. And yes, there will be ups and downs. There will be a week where everybody has a stomach flu and you're just like trying to cope, and that's okay too. It's just always coming back to it. Just always remembering, okay, yeah, yesterday didn't work at all. Today, I could do my little meditation again in the morning like I wanted to, or whatever it is.
And I think this plays a role with understanding what the challenges are. For you, with traveling for the last 3 years, and we'll talk about the wins in a moment, but what are some of the challenges that you've encountered?
Challenges. There have been endless challenges, from kids being sick or travel days. The most recent one, I would have to say, is our biggest challenge so far. Driving 7 hours straight at the border of Germany, about to enter Denmark, and car just breaks down. So we always try to, in those moments, acknowledge what's going on and just be like, this is happening, so everyone is on the same page. We now have 2 teenage boys that are more than capable, and our daughter, she just goes with the flow. So we're on the side of the Autobahn, waiting for a tow truck, jump in the tow truck, and somebody's like, so what are we doing? What's the plan? We have lots of options. We have lots of ideas. And then we kind of went through. We could have gone to nearby here, but almost in every direction we had a way that we could figure this out together. And that's the thing. But I think with traveling families, it's really cool because you're together a lot of the time. You have that connection, or you can have that connection if you value it and work on it. So it was just like we're going to figure this out together, and we did. So that's what comes to mind.
I'm sure that's a lot to navigate, but what are some of the positive things that you've seen either in you or your family as you've taken on more of a traveling lifestyle?
I'm just really humbled and proud of how connected we are. Like, of course, there's bumps in the road, and of course, there's bad days and bad moods and all that stuff. But I've got 2 teenage boys that I hug before they go to sleep every night and talk to me, and just all this stuff where I think, I don't know if we would really have that level of connection with the old life that we had. But I'm really grateful for our time together and that we can make these memories together and be together.
This is awesome. Let's jump into a lightning round. Say you can only ever visit or live in 3 countries. What are they?
Okay. America, Spain, India.
So not Germany, though. You've had enough.
I've had enough. And
okay.
Spain is close enough.
True.
My family can visit me.
That's why we landed in Spain. We're like, it's close enough. What is your favorite travel-related movie, book, or story?
I read when I was traveling when I was younger, Eat, Pray, Love.
Totally, me too.
Back in the day. I'm sure you did. And I really liked it. It helped me at that stage of my life. It helped me get some perspective.
What is one item that you cannot travel without?
Our car.
When it's functioning.
When it's functioning. But also my laptop. Like my laptop with my work and kids using it for school and stuff. Laptop, definitely.
And what is your favorite subject to Worldschool with the kids?
Emotional intelligence.
I love it.
You can use that in any subject.
Exactly. And it's the foundation for learning the next steps. If your brain can't process it, you're not going to take on math or science. Where can people connect with you and learn more about your services? And what do you have coming up that you can offer folks in this resiliency coaching world?
Yeah. So my website is just Resilience with Stacey. Stacey is spelled Stacy. Instagram also Resilience with Stacey. You'll find me there. I try to give as much tips and tricks as I can. Otherwise, my courses are all on the website.
What will the family course look like?
Yeah, so it's basically Family Resilience 101. It covers the basics of resilience, but specifically applied to the family dynamic, right? So as I said, we're the leaders. It goes a lot into self-regulation for the parents, but just gives a whole bunch of tools also for connection within the family, how we support each other, emotional intelligence. Another pillar of resilience is to know yourself. So we go into personality types, parenting styles, communication, all that stuff weaved together to give people all the basics they need to take their relationships, whatever they are, to the next level.
It sounds like this is something a family could actually do before they even start traveling as a way to build up those skills, because that is a huge adjustment to transition to travel. And then when you are traveling and new experiences and you're spending a lot more time together, perhaps to already have those skills in place that you can reach into your toolbox for, instead of, okay, now we're in crisis mode, like you mentioned. I need some help at this point. So I think that's great to offer it in lots of different avenues.
One family I'm helping right now is literally 6 months out from their start. And you're exactly right, Susie. They realized on a summer vacation last year, like, I can't even be with my own kids for a week. Like, how are we going to travel like this all the time? And then we met and it was like, okay, yes, please help us. So they're starting all this stuff now. They're practicing all the techniques. They're seeing what works, what doesn't work, what do they need, so that when they travel, they have all of this full toolbox of stuff they can use when they need it. Yeah.
I'll make sure to link all this information in the show notes so people can follow along, get those tips and tricks, and work with you either before or during travel. Thank you so much, Stacey.
Thank you, Susie. I appreciate it.
That's a wrap. If you enjoyed it, would you click in to leave a review right now? I appreciate the support, and follow along on Instagram, Facebook, and Substack.